In this episode, we are going to talk about microplastics and what injection molders do on their side to reduce that. We've covered this a little bit from episode to episode, but I really wanted to take a deep dive into microplastics as kind of our bad guy. If you make plastic components, sometimes time to time you get accused of contributing to the problem. Mm-hmm. If you're a maker, I'm sure you get viewed even worse by certain groups. And I think what we have to remember is society's out there, the media's out there, and it seems like it's a cyclical thing where once a year an article will come out. We get phone calls, in turn you get phone calls, and it probably all happens all at once and then it dies down. And for some reason a blog will pop up a few months later and we'll go through it again. Oftentimes it's revolved around recycling or waste. And you and I have had the conversation in the past that the waste that happens is often the consumer being careless with how they're throwing away, disposing of, or straight up littering down the highway. This is USA-made manufacturing. We have tighter tolerances within the states as to how operations are handled.
EPA.
We're not just dumping stuff out into the ocean.
I've had, well, not just the ocean, but
rivers that go to the roof.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the EPA out at our facilities checking to make sure that, because raw material are just beads, right? Considered microplastics, and making sure that when we are dumping, if we there is an amount of plastic beads that go into the landfill because they're on the ground, you sweep them up, you throw them in the trash. And just making sure that...
Because you can't throw that back into the pile
there's too much contamination. Yeah, there's too much contamination. So just making sure that around the dumpsters, there's no beads going into the drain that would then lead to contamination of rivers or creeks, whatever we're around. So,
and again, I think it's real important. You're an outdoors guy.
Mm-hmm.
You live within a few miles of this factory. You don't want to harm your own place where you live. And that's a good kind of point. All these factories are typically not in huge towns. They're in offset rural areas. Operating costs are cheaper. It provides a good stable economy for people that need those type of jobs. They don't want to mess up their own place.
No. And just from a profitability standpoint, the more we waste, the less we capitalize on. So waste is lost profit at the end of the day. So, and I need to go look. I've never actually looked up the definition of microplastics. I probably should do that one day. But I'm curious, is plastic dust, I assume it's...
I'm sure I'm sure microscopic levels is considered microplastics.
Where does it end? I mean, where does microplastics? What is that threshold of? Okay, now it's not microplastics anymore. Because
I have personally witnessed. I like to go to Hawaii every now and then. Probably not going to happen for a while now, but I've been on a beach. The one of the best beaches categorized in the world is on the east side of Hawaii, facing the states. Beautiful, but you can stick your hand in any part of the sand and come up with plastic. Where it's just washed ashore over decades.
Washed ashore, or fell out of somebody's pocket while walking the beach.
Yeah, I really think that this was washed ashore because you can see the microfragments, you can see the spidering of it and the UV degradation, and it's clearly has floated up at some point.
Yeah,
it's very sad, So if it is everywhere, we have to do things like what we have done and reduce one-time use plastics and partner up with people that take this seriously and are operating in a correct manner.
Yeah. It's important to be cognizant of it. I'm not upset that it is such a buzzword because it is shining light on that aspect.
You want other molders to stay in check.
Yeah, and I hope that it soon becomes a global initiative, because a lot of the stuff that you're seeing wash up on the U.S. beaches aren't from the U.S. It could be from who knows where. So, it's going to be a constant battle for years to come to reduce that aspect of plastics, and it's always going to be kind of a nagging thorn in the side for us as manufacturers.
How does maintenance play a role in reducing that? And I'm coming from the barrels and the screws and making sure the mold is in place. If everything's running efficiently, that's less bad parts, which means even though they're getting reground, there's still, if you want to talk about dust, if that's our threshold, there is a little bit of dust involved.
Yeah. Again, the more efficient you are, the less waste that you have, the more profitable the company is. And so if all of our machinery is running at 100% efficiency, we're going to have less bad parts and in turn less microplastics.
With higher profits. And that's the baseline of this episode is you are highly incentivized to run a very clean, very efficient, and very reduced waste operation, just like we are where we're at. One of the great things about being USA made is if we want to expand this beyond microplastic, reducing manufacturing miles, making sure that we're not putting pollutants in the air or jetting stuff across. There is, moving tools over. We've talked about the fact that tooling in the United States at this point is very far behind, and you are likely to get a tool made overseas that is on a boat that does have, residual atmospheric issues.
Yeah, it's a one-time cost though. So we try to limit all of our offshore purchases to one-time purchases. But shortening your supply chain is kind of the key to all of this. If you're so worried about microplastics, you better be manufacturing in the United States, because not everybody has the EPA. Not everybody has people knocking on our doors to making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be.
How about that? Extend it out. If you're that worried about microplastics, support the companies that are taking those steps.
Yep.
And it's probably going to be a little bit more expensive, but you're going to get a better product with a reduced ecological footprint.
Yeah, and it all ties in together with shortening the supply chain, goes into your profitability too, because you're not paying for stuff overseas. It's got to be on a boat. And it's a little bit, as far as being greener, you're not burning oil to bring all that product overseas. So,
well, we just wanted a short episode to kind of address it and to really put on the forefront that it is a major concern. It is something that we operate daily, and even though from time to time, at least from a customer perspective, a customer service perspective, this gets taken way out of context by just headline readers, it is a reason that me as the media guy who has a close relation with customer service and everybody else in the company has to say, hey, this may be coming up. This is what we do. This is what the article said, and here's why it's false. And it keeps all of us on our toes. And to your point, it's not a bad thing that this gets brought up.
And maybe it's not false, but this is how we've addressed it.
Right. Or this is, it's false for this industry, but maybe true for another.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. So if you're making a part and you're talking to your injection molder, make this part of the conversation and see what you can do to reduce your impact. And oftentimes that's going to help your bottom line as well.